Okay, so this guy has pretty much done all of the MCU movies, I think, and yet he's doing MCU The Honest trailer. The MCU can produce some good stuff, though it's not going to be appealing to everyone. My mom didn't enjoy Thor Ragnarok. So he did the honest trailers for almost every MCU film. And yeah, he's doing the MCU now.
Presented by The Boys, taking the fight to superheroes on Amazon Prime Video on July 26th.
Oh! 300th on this trailer.
In a world where a bankrupt comic book company sold the film rights to its best characters for peanuts because they thought movies would be a good way to sell more comics, a young executive will do what he can with the rejects that no one wanted and do so well they get bought out by Disney before it was cool. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, except for Endgame. Welcome to the MCU, a TV series made of movies about comic books, where magic is actually science.
Your ancestors called it magic, and you call it science.
But not by magic, by technology.
Magic.
Science.
But science is basically magic.
Boy Scouts of America? Yes, it is a worthwhile organization. I didn't physically check the crates.
And meet your typical MCU protagonist, a loner with no pets, no biological siblings, and whose only friends are their co-workers. Aww, whose personality can range from lighthearted quipster.
I'm sorry, Earth is closed today.
To stern, duty-bound military type.
You get hurt, hurt them back. You get killed, walk it off.
And on a long enough timeline, everyone becomes a quipster.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
Follow along on their heroes' journeys, where after a motivating Uncle Ben situation, they'll get a transformational hairstyle, cut some carbs, and find the strength to boldly say their superhero name out loud.
I'm Captain America.
I am Iron Man.
I'm Thor, son of Odin.
I'm Ant-Man.
I am Groot.
Nick Fury.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using the made-up names. I'm Spider-Man then.
Star-Lord.
Who? But people say a hero is only as good as their villain. And thank God that's not true, or the MCU would be hot garbage. Thrill as they spare 10 minutes to establish a bad guy who's just like the hero, but evil. Or a faceless horde. Can't feel bad if it doesn't have a face. Or actually a pretty awesome character and they're dead. But everyone knows the real villain of the MCU is dads.
He was cold. He was calculating. He never told me he loved me. He never even told me he liked me.
You favored Thor all these years. You were wrong to turn your backs on the rest of the world.
Everything I hate about myself, he told me.
Well, of course I have issues. That's my freaking father.
I will hunt my father like a dog and I will tear him apart slowly, piece by piece, until he knows some semblance of the profound and unceasing pain I know every single day.
Yeah.
Tremble before the girth of a meticulously planned story told across 23 separate movies, all about Thanos killing half the universe. Well, first he has to get an Infinity Gauntlet. No, not that gauntlet.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah, that one. And then gather the Infinity Stones. Well, send proxies to get them. And he gives one away, but eventually he'll get the stones. Some aren't stones.
While the other relics often appear as stones, the ether is fluid.
But then he'll kill half the universe, which also doesn't make much sense. Oh, also, the timeline doesn't work out. Maybe this wasn't so planned out after all. But the films do sort nicely into 3 distinct phases. The conventional pop songs phase, the boundary-pushing experimental phase, then the woo, we can do no wrong, I'm a golden god phase. And if Rock Docs have taught me anything, phase 4 will have the MCU puking in the gutter, wondering where it all went wrong. Journey from the farthest reaches of Viking space, to alternate dimensions, to the wonders of Earth. Oops, that one's Utopia. And marvel at how everything still kinda looks and feels the same, as visionary indie filmmakers are funneled into the Marvel style of overlit digital video where everything is CGI. Every story is full of sexless romance that never takes off.
No! What the hell?
Bloodless violence that never leaves more than a couple of forehead scrapes.
All that for a drop of blood.
lifeless soundtracks with more dad rock than you can shake a pair of middle-aged screenwriters.
Hey! Lifeless soundtracks, fuck you! Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack... Oh, second one anyway. When I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 again, I liked some of its soundtrack. And I decided to download a couple of them. And when I watched Endgame again, I won't spoil too much, but one of the songs from the original Guardians makes a comeback. I looked it up. And lifeless soundtracks, man, fuck you.
That
Feels so good. Chuck Mangione, 1977.
Marvin Gaye, 1972, Trouble Man soundtrack. Look, no feelings. Blue Swede, 1973. That song belongs to me.
or toothless comedy that's just saying pop culture things.
So this orb has a real shiny blue suitcase, Ark of the Covenant, Maltese Falcon sort of vibe.
I loved you in A Christmas Story.
Shooting Knight Rider or touring with his band in Germany.
No hard feelings, Point Break. You got a mean swing.
We'll build my new Lego Death Star.
What?
Try me, Beyonce.
That man is playing Gallagher.
Ever see this really old movie, Aliens?
We're getting no help from Flash Gordon.
I'm very poppin', y'all.
Shall we play a game? I can footloose the movie.
Exactly like Footloose.
Squidward.
Grimace.
Legolas. Personal flying monkeys. I understood that reference.
Blue Lagoon.
Gandalf and Harry Potter.
Oops, that's Pixels. So settle in for an interconnected movieverse that had a 1 in 14,605 shot of working. But those odds didn't stop every other studio from awkwardly mashing their IPs together like a junior high dance floor, leaving Marvel as the only one standing in a dying industry.
I could do this all day.
But launching a whole new industry of Marvel movie news, theory and analysis, channels that just complain about Marvel movies, and even comedy web series that would have died a long time ago if Marvel movies weren't so popular. So one way or another, in the end, everyone's getting paid by Disney. You shills. Starring science geniuses.
It could achieve heavy ion fusion at any reactor on the planet.
Quantum phase, when an object moves through different states of matter.
Science,
Connection between two different points of space.
It's a wormhole.
The quantum system would revert back to separate states of matter.
Why didn't you just reprogram the synapses to work collectively?
When did you become an expert in thermonuclear astrophysics?
Last night.
Jumping out of airplanes. People of color. Leg scissors. Trains? Howdies. Unless you're Ant-Man, then you get a Hyundai and you like it. Dual wielding. Dig measuring.
I mean, you have a big gun. You are not the big gun. Tony, don't be jealous.
No, it's not like raging fire. It's all like smoldering fire.
My record, 21 feet.
Not bad.
You?
65 feet.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Huge.
65.
You get an Iron Man suit, and you get an Iron Man suit, and you get an Iron Man suit. Weird non-Stan Lee cameos.
Hey, the Oracle of Oracle.
Good idea for an electric jet.
Multi-hit
No.
combos! Are you sure you know how to fly this thing?
You know how to fly this thing?
We'll see.
I thought you said you knew how to fly this thing.
I said, how hard could it be?
Here, take the wheel.
No, I don't know how to fly one of these.
You're a scientist. Use one of your PhDs.
And never forget that for all of Guardians 1, they're sitting in Star-Lord's jizz.
If I had a black light, this would look like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Ugh, gross, dude. The never-ending story.
The never-ending story?
Oh man, we forgot to say anything about the ABC shows, Netflix series, one-shots, and spin-offs. So did Kevin Feige. This episode was brought to you by The Boys, a new series on Amazon.
Admittedly, there are a few things that I take offense to because some of the MCU movies I really enjoy. Some, not so much, and thought it was either overrated or really underwhelming, like Spider-Man: Homecoming. Although, I should address the elephant in the room. The MCU can constantly turn out good or great movies. I don't know about that. Because I've seen a couple of films that one or two people hate. I mean, my mom certainly doesn't like Thor Ragnarok, and some guy I used to admire, but now I think he's an asshole, thought that Thor: The Dark World just stinks, and that Natalie Portman's acting is bad or something. I'm not sure if her acting is bad, but some people of mine are not a fan of her, so. Which is weird, because I kind of like Thor: The Dark World, because unlike the first film, we get more Thor with a hammer. And it's not really boring. It's got humorous moments. And I wasn't a fan of Thor Ragnarok because it has way too much silly moments. And for the record, it's not bad to have silly moments. It's just that they kind of overdid it. I mean, the only thing I enjoyed is a few Hulk scenes, and of course, the villain. Hela. So, yeah, the Incredible Hulk is incredibly forgettable. Incredible Hulk, incredibly forgettable. Yeah, it's incredibly forgettable. Iron Man, yeah, okay. I guess we may be comparing the current MCU films to the first phase of MCU's, the first phase films. Back then, it probably would have been okay or pretty good for some of them. But nowadays, we got better MCU movies. I mean, they don't always hit bullseye. In fact, the films I enjoy the most is the Avengers films. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Captain Marvel. I guess that's it. And also, I've said this before, and I've done a review of Spider-Man: Homecoming. Spider-Man: Homecoming is not a bad film. It's just, it can't compare to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies or the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And yes, even Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. I guess they're guilty pleasures of mine. Homecoming doesn't have that. The jokes aren't funny sometimes. And when you compare the Spider-Mans themselves, Tom Holland, no offense, is kind of pathetic. No offense. He can. I'm not saying I hate Tom Holland. I think he does a good job. And I can understand what they're going for. They're going for a teenage Spider-Man. Which is fine. It's fine. It's fine. They don't hate me for it. They're going with their own style. The other Spider-Man movies did their own style. I guess it just depends which style you like. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man's more or less is kind of sort of growing up as an adult, dealing with hardships. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 has the Amazing Spider-Man movies has the science babble and a Peter Parker who pretty much acts cocky and stuff, but is looking for his father while still acknowledging that great power comes with great responsibility. And Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I want to be an Avenger. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love Spider-Man as the Avenger, but I have to give them props, the MCU props. The stuff that's good, it gets really good, no doubt. And they have no doubt have gone better as time moved on. Like they're more memorable and they have more of a sense of humor to the point where they're not like DC live action films. I mean, DC live action films, from what I can understand, they are getting their game back up a little bit. Just look at Wonder Woman and I watched Shazam yesterday. So DC is going somewhere at least. But in the end, the MCU, it may not appeal to everybody's taste, but for the majority, I think it can appeal to the majority of people. Just know that guys like me have picky tastes or whatever. They're not bad per se. That's for sure. Some of it can be okay, some of them can be good, some like the Avengers can be outright amazing. But to say that the MCU can turn out good products can be a little bit of it can be an exaggeration. But that is just kind of me, or that I could be piggy and stuff. But in the end, I guess you could take the MCU for what it's worth. Me personally, I'm more concerned with whether or not Disney, now that has, considering the fact that it has the rights to Star Wars and Marvel, can we get an all-out crossover with the Disney characters, the Star Wars characters, and the Marvel characters? Please?